Let's rumble.
Good.
Rock and roll.
Alright everybody, welcome this afternoon. Welcome to the third Airsoft Meetup already. For media and press and news blogs to gather. And yeah, today we have some interesting speakers, also from all over the States, who will show their latest products. A little heads up. We do have Carlton with us today, with some nice prototypes. Welcome, Carlton. One prototype, sorry. He'll join us after the break. George from ICS. We do have, for example, Paul Chu. Welcome. Welcome for joining us. Thanks for joining us. Gunfire will join us. Let me see. IWA Outdoor Classics. Welcome Ross, thanks for being here. Tim from Crytek will join us after the break. They launched their product line yesterday. And we'll review it in a little bit more detail during the meetup. And also after the break, Johnny will join us from ASG. And of course awards, the Popular Airsoft Awards. We have our own Oscar show at the end of the show. Hope you guys will enjoy the show. I would like to ask Paul to kick off with the first presentation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Paul Chu. I'm the co-founder and CEO of RedWolf Airsoft. And it's my pleasure to be here this year. It's our 7th year exhibiting here at IWA Show, and every year I get to meet new friends and see old faces and old friends, so it's really great to be here. I also want to thank you for taking the time to listen to me talk. Hopefully I'll provide you some interesting information about what's coming to market this year that's new, what has come to market, and also field any questions you may have about the airsoft industry or products in general. Okay? So for those of you who haven't visited us, we're actually in Hall 7, booth 614. We're actually right next to Cybergun. So please do come by if you get a chance to come and check out some of the new products. We do have some really cool toys for this year that might wow you. So promise that it will be worth your while to come and visit us. So a lot of people ask me, hey, Paul, this year you have an interesting booth, a new booth, and you have the logo RWA and RedWolf on it. Why are there two brands in your booth? And of course, I went on to explain to them that actually last year we had already explained this. RedWolf is a retail brand. We've been around for 16 years. This is actually we're entering our 16th year. And in 2004, we decided that it was important to go into wholesale because we wanted to support a lot of our retail customers who were starting up their own shops. And over time, we decided it was not right to continue selling wholesale through the RedWolf brand, and that's why we started our wholesale division, RWA. And in the last several years, we've been fortunate enough to get some interesting licenses, so we've been actually manufacturing products as well. So we've also put those products under the RWA brand as well. And that's why on the booth you will see two brands, RWA and RedWolf. RedWolf is really more the old retail brand. We're still doing it, but it's really a small part of our business right now. the majority of our business is actually wholesale distribution and starting into manufacturing right now. We currently have 4 countries of operation. Our headquarters is in Hong Kong. I'm actually American. I've actually grown up in the US, but I moved to Hong Kong to start RedWolf by accident. So we're still based out of Hong Kong. We have our UK office, which we started our 10th year anniversary for the UK office. And this year we started our offices in France and also in Moscow. So it's a really exciting year for us. Our network has really grown. We're operating in more countries than we had ever imagined. And we will be opening new offices in other countries soon. So stay tuned for that. We'll probably announce that next year. So this is our UK showroom, which we last year announced that we would open in March, and we did. So it's been in operation, and we've been bringing a lot of new interesting products to the UK market as well. My UK guys are actually not here, so if you have any questions about the UK, just let me know.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay. Cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense of urgency. A message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with. Now they looking nervously, and I don't really care what you think of me respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking better, see, I will outwork.
One of the new products we brought out for this year, which was really interesting, and a lot of people have been buying it actually, is the Action Sterling L2A3. This is something that we worked together with Action, a company based out of Hong Kong, to develop, and it's actually it's a gun that was from the 1950s, and the internal design is actually inspired by a PTW. So it uses a PTW style cylinder, a hop-up unit, barrel, and even the magazine has the same extended follower, just like a PTW. Some people say it's a bit expensive. It's about a high $300 range. It is a small gun, but you really have to fire it to appreciate it. It makes a really great sound. And the interesting part about this gun is that it's really one of the first guns in the airsoft market that is hand welded together, just like the real gun. Now the real gun I heard cost $8 to make. This probably cost, that was probably the 1950s. This costs quite a bit more. But nonetheless, I think it is a very, very iconic piece of gun. So if you're a historic gun fan, this is something that you might want to consider. This has recently been published in Arms magazine for this month, for the month of April, and it's also been reviewed in several other magazines as well. Airsoft Surgeon. Well, for the longest time I can remember, I keep pestering Airsoft Surgeon. I keep asking him, hey, can you make the high kappa or the Marui lock more powerful? Because I think it's kind of weak. It's a great gun, it's so accurate, but it's really kind of weak. And he's always told me it's impossible to make it any more powerful because Marui has done such a great job optimizing it. Well, he has found a way, although there is a slight sacrifice, which is that you have to give up the hop pump. But by installing Airsoft Surgeon's new extreme barrel, you actually get about 20 to 25% more power out of your Marui high kappa and Glock series. It will fit the WE series as well. He's also recently come out with Toka Marui, so-called gear, which is WE. There's Airsoft Surgeon right there. And he's also recently come out with 2 other styles as well. So for IPSC shooters, where you're shooting from close range and the hop up is not as necessary because it's a close range shooting, this barrel has really proven to be very popular. And this is manufactured under the RWA brand as well. This is another RWA product. It's a fiber optic scope, so the concept is similar to a Trijicon scope where it absorbs the light from the surgery areas and it sucks it in and it illuminates a reticle dot. This is actually a French ad that we've published in the French market, but you can find more information about this product on our website as well. This has been actually doing quite well as well. MG34, as promised, we did release it in 2013. So our total production for this gun, we wanted to keep it to 500 worldwide. Over half of that has already been sold, and another, probably the remaining has already been spoken for. So we're currently back ordered until end of May in terms of production, because we're hand building these in our Hong Kong headquarters. It's a slow process to build it after the QC process. So if any of you are interested in it, or any shops that are interested in it, then you really need to speak with me soon. Otherwise, they will be all gone. Another new brand coming out of the market. We don't own this brand, but we're one of the distributors for this brand, and I'm sure you'll hear this brand from our friends at Gunfire as well, who's working very hard to promote this brand as well. E&L is a marriage of two companies. It's a marriage of a company called Nan Arms, and a company, I forget the name, but it begins with an E, and that's why it's called E&L. But the company that begins with an E is a real firearms company. It's a 105-year-old firearms company that makes real AK-47s for the Chinese military. And they're, of course, based in China. Nan Arms is a Japanese brand. The owner is a Chinese gentleman, but he went to university and he worked in Japan. So he has the Japanese quality mentality. After he returned to China, he actually started manufacturing parts for the Japanese market. So Nan Arms is a Japanese-only market brand. Last year, he did a joint venture with this real firearms manufacturer to create a series of AEGs using real gun components from this Chinese military factory. So I visited this factory. This factory is based in Chongqing, which is a military town for China. It's full of mountains. They actually hide all the guns in the mountains against invaders, which was very eye-opening for me. But more eye-opening was the factory, that it is a real gun factory, and it's got immense capacity to export firearms. And they've called this the civilian line. They're actually manufacturing these like real guns, using the same assembly line, same workers, but except they put a gearbox in it. The receiver of the AKs are a bit longer than the real AKs to comply, to avoid any kind of risk issues, but the material is exactly the same. And of course, the wooden furniture is exactly the same as well. So, I can say this because I'm Chinese, but I hear Chinese guns, I'm like, what? Chinese guns, low quality, I don't want to sell Chinese guns. And at the factory floor, the guy said, hey, I have 500 pieces here, why don't you pick up any two, and we will go into the test room and fire 20,000 rounds through it, non-stop, in one, constant trigger pull, just between mag pulls, between mag chains. And I said, fine. I took two guns and I walked into the fire range, and indeed, we spent 4 hours firing 20,000 rounds through these guns using M130 and M150 springs. And then we took apart the gearboxes, and they came out like new. I was actually really, really shocked. I said, wow, I couldn't imagine that Chinese guns could reach this level of quality. But I guess it's because of this Japanese mentality that he's able to create products or parts that are this refined. So, if any of you have doubts that Chinese guns are low quality, I guess I stand corrected. They are getting better, and I think E&L is a great example of this. BBs, okay, you're going to be like, oh my god, it's another BB manufacturer. Well, this is not just another BB. This is a BB that Airsoft Surgeon decided was due for the market, and it is a BB that's made from ABS plastic. There are very few other manufacturers that make BBs in ABS plastic. For one reason, because it's very expensive. ABS plastic is much more expensive than the other materials used to make BBs right now in the market. The difference is that, why do we make ABS BBs? Well, ABS, for one, deforms on impact. If you try to crush it with a pair of pliers, they will deform into an egg, but they will not crumble like breadcrumbs. Most BBs in the market will crumble like breadcrumbs when they impact or get crushed. And the problem with that is when you're playing with mesh masks, if it hits the mesh, the crumble, the fragments from the crumble will actually enter the mask and hit your eye. And mesh masks are very popular in North America. I don't know if they're popular here, but we saw that as a problem. Of course, in your barrel jams, especially if you're playing with 6.01, then successively as the BBs jam up, they all crumble inside the barrel and up to the hopper, and eventually they destroy the gearbox as well. So we decided that we wanted the BBs to stick together. We didn't want them to crumble, and that's why we came up with this line of Airsoft Surgeon BBs. Another thing you need to know, most BBs in the market are waxed to make them really shiny and look really nice. which is great for marketing, but airsoft surgeons said, well, I don't really need them to look pretty. I just don't want them to leave wax residue in my hopper. And that's why we chose not to wax our BBs. They are a little bit less glossy, less pretty, but that's because we don't gloss them. We don't want them to destroy our guns. Another thing we've done is we've come up with a gas. This is a special mix of gas. We actually had chemical engineers come up with a gas that reduces the cool down effect. So if you actually play with airsoft surgeons gas compared to other brands of gas, and you measure it for 20 shots in a row, and you measure the FPS drop, you will notice that the curve, the drop on this gas is much less than the other gases on the market. And I've done many tests to prove it. And I welcome you to prove it. I hope I can send you each a bottle so that you can prove for yourself what I said is true. Most gases in the market use gas that is sourced from China. Our gas is actually sourced from the Middle East, where they have the best gas. So it is more expensive, but the mix is more pure, and therefore less contaminants, and therefore it cools down much less, creating a much lower drop in power on each successive shot. Now keep in mind, we're doing all of this because we're doing this for IPSC. It's all airsoft surgeon, everything he does is for IPSC. We want constant power on IPSC, and we also want good BBs that don't crumble. And that's where all this motivation is coming from. But of course, for general players, this will also be a great advantage. Another interesting product we came up with is the Airsoft Surgeon face-off pistol. What you see here is a CNC aluminum version. We actually have a CNC copper version here, which is actually much more shiny and much more heavy. Beautiful piece. The grip is handmade in Japan by an artist, and you can see the level of detail when you come up later to take a look at it. Limited edition. Most of the aluminum ones have been sold out. The copper ones are not on the market yet. We did sell some of these kits to Japan, so you may see this online in kit form in Japan. But outside of Japan, no one has ever sold these, especially in complete gun format. So this is the first coming from Airsoft Surgeon for this year. Veneered arms, I showed this last year. We did not sell it last year, but this year we are releasing it for retail. So these are now available. Initially, we only made these available on custom PTWs. People have been going crazy over them. So we decided that it was time to release them, and they are now out in the market. I think this year people are going more for the slim, not really airsoft. It actually uses a primer from a 9mm bullet or from a shotgun. And when you actually toss it on the ground, it will generate over 130 dBs of sound. Not legal in most countries, but for the UK it's okay. Go figure. Airsoft Systems. We have the president of Airsoft Systems here. He asked that I just say a few words about it. We released this product last year, and at least it premiered it, and everyone was in awe at the design. It was just a beautiful and simplistic design. And this year we're finally ready to go to production with it. RedWolf is working very closely with Airsoft Systems to put this to market. So hopefully within, I was told, IWA plus 90 days, hopefully we will have the first batch rolling off the assembly line. So stay tuned for more information. We don't have the price yet, but of course it will be relatively affordable compared to maybe a system of PTW. Okay, so new licenses. We actually got a couple new licenses this year. I'm not going to talk about it too much. We already have that Hot Custom. We have Samson. We have SPS, which is the IPSC brand. And we have 556 Tactical and CMT Tactical, which are new brands from the US. They do custom receivers, and they also do rails. That whole custom series, last year we did talk about 4 models that we've already created. These are all on the market now. The Recon model, which is this model right here, we've been selling really well. It's a CO2 model. It really kicks really hard. But this year we decided we wanted to make something even better. So we made a steel version. This is a full CNC steel version, Nighthawk Custom. It's really heavy. I invite you all to come up and play with it later, and it kicks really hard. It's CO2 based. We did not OEM this from anywhere. We actually built this ground up from zero. Every single part in this gun is new. It is not sourced from an existing supplier of any kind. It's going through trials right now. Personally, I think it's beautiful. It shoots really well, but as a fanatic, I don't think it makes the right clink sound yet. it has to sound more metallic. So we're still tuning the materials to make it sound cooler. You know. So I will release it when I'm happy with the sound. But for now, it's actually shooting really well. So I invite you all to try it. There's got CO2 in there, so you can try it out. Okay, another cool product, SOCOM Gear. We're the exclusive distributor for SOCOM Gear in many countries. This is a new gas blowback rifle, shell ejecting. It uses one CO2 cartridge per shell, so you can imagine the power it generates on recoil. And it actually ejects the shell in chambers for the next round after you fire it. This gentleman is Ronnie Barrett. Ronnie Barrett is, well, the CEO and founder of Barrett. He came by our booth first day and he was stunned. He looked at it and he said, "This is like a real gun." He picked it up and he was in awe. And those were basically the words that he said. And he actually stole one of our barracks and put it in his booth. So that is a tribute. That actually tells you how real this gun really is. Actually reminding us to pick it up before we leave. I don't want to take it back to the US. Okay? Airsoft Surgeon, we continue to come out with cool designs. We decided this year to go with a slightly more retro look with this model. So this is the Goldfinger Infinity Open, which is a bit more retro. That's at our booth right now that you can see. This is a high-speed gun, well, you can see all these holes in it. It's very skeletal. So this is a gun that shoots really fast. You need to try it, but the slide cycle speed is incredible. That is full metal. This is another gun. We only made one, but it was bought by the Asia head of Cartier, the jewelry group. He came to our office and he said, "Oh, I love this gun," and he bought it before we can even make more. So I can only say that there's one in the world, owned by the Cartier guy, and it's actually got Italian leather grips that we put on it. I don't think there are any other guys in the market with leather grips. But hey, you know, go figure. We put it on and we liked it, so we bought it. This is another gun. It's another race gun, smoking hole, that we created this year from Airsoft Surgeon. And finally, I want to share with you an event that we actually did. Some of you may know that we ran a major IPSC event in England. Cold, wet England. Probably not the best place to do it, but we did it anyway because all our guys live there. And it was an IPSC event for 3 days. And surprisingly, we had a lot of people coming in from all over the world. Finland, Sweden, where else?
Hong Kong.
Norway, UK, and even from Hong Kong to compete in this event. I will show you a quick video of what the event looked like. Okay, so really cool event. I hope you guys enjoyed that footage. That was actual footage from the event. If you missed it last year, don't worry. We're doing it again this year. We're hoping to double the capacity of this event. There is also Airsoft Surgeon Training School after the event where he actually teaches you how to shoot IPSC for an entire day. And the dates are August 1st to 3rd, 2014, again in England. UK showroom, and that's it. Thank you very much. Please come and visit us if you haven't already to all 7 booth 614. Thank you very much.
for your presentation. Lots of interesting information. And this year we also have the opportunity to ask Paul several questions, just a few minutes. Paul is available now. So shoot. Do you have any questions about the presentation, about IPSC in the UK, or several new products, or perhaps you can even try them after the show?
We are actually also making another big World War II gun. It's already done. I can't show it. I really wanted to, but my engineers kind of beat me up and said, "You show it, we leave." So they don't want people copying it. They've been putting a lot of long hours into this gun. It is another World War II gun. It is another big gun the size of that table, and I think you guys will find it impressive. It's probably more famous than the MG34. So I really wanted to. I was going to make the MG42 first. The plan was to make the MG34 first, and then to make the MG42. But now everyone's made the MG42, so we're not making it anymore.
All right. Thanks for the teaser. We will invite you next year to join us.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.